Hello and welcome back to Unwrapped Japan. I'm Aya. In this podcast, I share my personal perspective on Japanese life and culture. Before we dive into today's topic, let me tell you a quick, funny story that happened to me last weekend. I was at Uniqlo looking through the usual adult woman section, but for some reason, I glanced over the kids section, and there a pair of trousers caught my eye. The size was 160 centimeter. I had this funny thought, I bet I could fit into those. So I looked them into the fitting room and tried them on. And guess what? They fit perfectly. This little incident brought back memories of when I used to live abroad. I often struggled to find clothes in the adult woman section because the size was usually too big for me. And I used to wonder if I'd have better luck in the kids section there too. But this time, fitting into Japanese kids' clothes made me wonder something else. Are children in Japan these days growing up bigger and taller than when I was a kid? It's quite heartwarming to think they are eating so well that their clothes are big enough for me now. Speaking of shopping and surprising trends, today's episode is about a shopping phenomenon that suddenly appeared in Japan Black Friday. We are talking about something that didn't exist here until very recently, but now suddenly dominates our shopping calendars every November. For those of you familiar with the United States, Black Friday is the biggest shopping day right after Thanksgiving. But it's not just the US. It's a huge shopping event across Europe and many other parts of the world. But there's the thing, Japan doesn't celebrate Thanksgiving. We never did. So where did this Black Friday tradition come from? And why did it suddenly appear in Japan? I found this very interesting because it shows how global marketing trends can influence Japanese culture, even when the original culture context doesn't exist here. Let me unwrap this story for you. If you had asked a Japanese person about Black Friday 10 or 15 years ago, most people probably wouldn't have known what you were talking about. I certainly didn't know about it when I was younger. The concept was officially imported to Japan quite recently. The first company credited with launching a Black Friday sale in Japan was Toys R Us Japan in 2014. They were the pioneers who brought this idea here. The idea spread slowly at first. In 2015, some other companies followed, like Gap and some specialty retailers. But Black Friday was still not very well known to most Japanese people at that point. The real turning point came in 2016, when Aeon Group, which is one of Japan's biggest supermarket and shopping mall operators, decided to hold a major Black Friday event. When a giant company like Aeon gets involved, suddenly everyone pays attention. After that, more and more major retailers joined in. Amazon Japan started doing Black Friday sales around 2019. And by then, almost every Japanese consumer had heard about Black Friday, even if they hadn't participated in it. So to summarize, it only took about 5 or 6 years from 2014 to around 2019 or 2020 for Black Friday to become a well-known shopping event in Japan. That's actually incredibly fast for a foreign tradition to become established here. So this brings up the obvious question. Why did this American tradition suddenly find a home in Japan in the mid-2010s? Why not earlier? Why not later? From what I understand, there are two very practical reasons, and they are both related to Japanese retail strategy. Reason 1. Filling the sales gap. Historically, November was considered one of the slowest sales months for Japanese retail stores. Think about the Japanese shopping calendar from a retailer's perspective. October has Halloween events. December is huge. We have Christmas. and most importantly, the massive year-end sales season, or 年末商戦 in Japanese. But November kind of sat there awkwardly in between. Retail companies realized that Black Friday could be the perfect solution. It would boost consumer spending right before the big December rush. It acts as a warm-up, or what some people call a catalyst, for the year-end shopping season. Reason 2. Cultural adaptation and timing. In Japan, we have a national holiday called Kinrō Kansha no Hi, or Labor Thanksgiving Day, which falls on November 23rd. It's not the same as American Thanksgiving Day at all, but the timing is similar. In late November, Japanese retailers very cleverly decided to time their Black Friday events around this holiday. By doing this, they gave the event or connection to the Japanese calendar. Also, the Japanese version of Black Friday doesn't have all the historical baggage of the American version. They often extend the sales period for 1 or even 2 weeks instead of just one intense day. This makes it less chaotic and more accessible for Japanese shoppers who generally don't like extreme crowds and chaos. Finally, let's talk about the word black itself. In the United States, the origin of the name Black Friday has several theories. The most common story is the accounting one. The idea that retailers move from being in the red to being in the black. However, another famous theory suggests the name was first used in Philadelphia to describe the heavy and chaotic traffic and pedestrian crowds on the Friday after Thanksgiving. In Japan, most people don't know the background or the different theories. Instead, they embrace the word black in much more literal and playful ways. Some stores sell products that are literally black in color during Black Friday. They create special black bags, mystery bag filled with surprise item, similar to the traditional Japanese fukubukuro in New Year. Some retailers use the number 96 in their promotions because in Japanese, 96 can be read as kuro, 9 is ku, 6 is roku, and they become together, which sounds like kuro, the Japanese word for black. So the Japanese version of Black Friday has taken the core concept, a big sale event, and adapted it to fit Japanese shopping culture. Personally, I think it's fascinating how quickly Black Friday became a part of Japanese life. It shows how flexible Japanese consumer culture can be when it comes to adapting falling trends, as long as they serve a practical purpose. At the same time, I noticed that Japanese Black Friday is much calmer than what I see in videos from America. So that's the story of Black Friday in Japan. It's a great example of how a global trend can be customized to fit local market needs and cultural preferences. Before I go, I have a quick question for you first. What are you planning to buy this Black Friday? I'm thinking about upgrading my microphone. I need it. And now I have 2 main questions for you, my listeners. First, have you ever participated in Black Friday sales in Japan? If so, what did you buy? Second, what's the most uniquely Japanese product you've seen marketed during Black Friday? I'd love to hear your experiences. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Unwrapped Japan. I hope you learned something new today. Until next time, let's unwrap Japan together. See you in the next episode. Bye.